Good morning and good afternoon, gamers. So, these last couple of days, I have been dealing with a very tough decision. I've been mulling it over all day and all night. It's kind of stressing me out, but it's the weekend now, and I have time to actually sit down and really think about which 5-star weapon I want to select out of the 5-star selector that you get when you're level 45. And as you can see, I am 46 right now. I dinged level 45 a couple days ago. So I'm faced with this decision now, if I go to my bags, on what 5-star weapon I would like to get out of this free box. Because this game is ridiculously generous, especially in this first month. And, you know, we got all those 5-star characters, and now we're getting a 5-star weapon selector whenever you do hit 45. So this is a tough decision because I'm going to be honest, even though we can get any of these that we want pretty relatively easily from the weapon banner, this is still, like, especially for free to play or like moderate spending players, this is going to be a decision that will affect your account for the foreseeable future, for at least the next few months. So I wanted to make a video talking about what I'm going to choose and kind of give you the thought process on picking what you're going to choose when you get the opportunity to do so. To keep this like 100% authentic, like zero capping going on with you guys, I think there is an obvious choice that like 90% of players should consider when picking their first 5-star, but it is a nuanced conversation depending on like what characters you main or what characters you're hoping to build soon. So I am going to go over each and every 5-star and discuss whether it might be a good option for you, and mostly talk about why it's not. All right, let's start this off with, how about we do the Rectifier first? Cosmic Ripples here. So what situation would you want to pull Cosmic Ripples in? You're not going to need it for like Verena or Baiji. They have solid support options, and this is not really a support weapon with the attack main stat. You could argue that it's okay for Verena, but you don't want to waste your 5-star weapon selector on a support weapon, in my humble opinion. It does have energy regen, but still not that big of a deal. So you might want to pull this if you're using Encore as your main DPS, or you pulled Yin Lin and you didn't have enough pulls to get her signature weapon. To be completely honest though, although this could be a good option for both of them, I mean, the energy regen would be pretty good on Yin Lin, and attack percent is, you know, it's welcome, but it's not crit rate and it's not crit damage, so it's never going to be like the top tier option for either of those, or any DPS, any like main or sub DPS characters in the future. On top of that, there is, and this is kind of, spoiler alert, going to be a recurring theme in this video. If we go to the battle pass weapons, which is, you know, it's 20 bucks, it's not an option for everyone, but at the same time, we're talking about premium weapons either way with the 5-star or battle pass. We also have augments, and you know, this gives the crit rate main stat, and it also increases attack. So this is a super solid option for like budget or slightly free-to-play plus, maybe you could call it, Encore and Yinlin players. I would definitely go with this over Cosmic Ripples, and there's just going to be a lot better options. But if you don't want any other weapons for any other characters, you already have all your other 5-stars set up, maybe go ahead and pull it for Encore or Yin-Lin. But otherwise, let's move on to the next one. Alright, next up we are going to look at these gauntlets, the Abyss Surges, which are in a very similar situation to the Rectifier. They have the same attack main stat and the energy regen and the same effect down there. I would argue that these are in a worse situation than the Rectifier though, because currently in the game we only have Jiang Xin and Yuan Wu who can even equip gauntlets, and this is, you know, if you're playing them as your main DPS for whatever reason, more power to you. This could be a pretty good option, maybe the best option, but you also have, again, reoccurring theme here, the battle pass gauntlets for a main DPS. These have crit rate main stat, and also increase your resonance liberation damage, which is pretty good for both of them, I'd argue. So once again, not a very good investment in my opinion to get that 5-star one. Even if you're playing Jiangxin as a support, like most people are, you're gonna need to have those what are they called, the Originite gauntlets, the blue ones that will trigger a heal, so you can trigger the rejuvenating glow set. So yeah, once again, gauntlets not going to be a great option for anyone unless you really want to use either of those two as your main DPS, and in that case, more power to you. Next up on the list, we are going to look at this Broadblade here, and this is a bit of a contentious one. I think this one is worth it if you are an absolute Calcaro stan. Like, Calcaro is your man, you plan on maining him for like the next year, and you just love his playstyle so much you don't want to play anyone else, because this is going to be Calcaro's best weapon, basically based off the fact that it increases the Resonance Liberation damage, which is where most of his damage comes from. Once he enters his ult, all of the damage he casts is going to be considered as Resonance Liberation damage, so this is amazing for him. That being said, Gion's weapon, which if you manage to get it, is not much worse than that. Pridewind claims it's maybe like 4% worse. And then once again, this will be the last time I show you guys this, we do have Autumn Trace here, which is a crit rate main stat. Amazing, makes building characters just so much easier when you have that crit rate on the weapon. And you know, the effect isn't that bad for him either. I think Pridewind says, let's see, I'll pull it over here, I have it pulled up. Pridewind says that this is like 94% of the damage of what Lustrous Razor would be, so a solid option as well. Like I said, if you're like an absolute stan for Calcaro, and he's like the one character you want to play for the next like 500 years of your life, definitely go with whatever the 5-star one is called. If not, I don't think it's your best option, because I'm about to get to the two that I personally have been really considering since I knew we were going to get this selector box. All right, here is the meat and potatoes here of what I want to talk about. We have Static Mist and Emerald of Genesis left, the guns and the sword. I want to talk about the gun first, because this thing is probably going to be one of the best things you could invest in on your account, and let me tell you why. First off, crit rate main stat on a 5-star weapon. Crazy, amazing. It's also got that energy regen in the skill. Here is the biggest part for me. When outro skill is cast, increases the incoming resonator's attack by 10%. That means this is going to be probably the best support pistol that you can get for a long time to come, until they come out with like a specifically support styled 5-star main character and limited weapon with them. So for that reason, I think you're going to be able to use this for a long time. I mainly want it for my Mortefi. This is Mortefi's best in slot right now. It's going to buff his damage as well as Gion's damage, which is who I use him with. You can also use it on Alto, and that's going to be his best option for the foreseeable future, I'm sure. You can use it on Chixia as well. It's not really designed to be like a main DPS weapon. It does have the crit rate substat, which is nice, but whenever the first like 5-star pistol character comes out and they get their own limited weapon, I'm sure that will be better for Chixia. But I'm telling you guys, this is probably going to be one of the best investments you can make into your account, is the Static Mist right here. This is an amazing 5-star support weapon, and this is why the decision is so hard, because we also have this little baby right here, the Emerald of Genesis sword, which is the other crit rate main stat 5-star in this selector, which is always just juicy. It also increases your energy regen, and also just increases your attack for whoever is on field. So it's not a support weapon, automatically meaning that this is going to get power crept at a much faster rate, and also at a higher proportion, because there's going to be 5-star sword users, main DPS, and their weapon's just going to be better. That's how gacha games work. They're always coming out with a better thing. So definitely will get power crept faster than the guns. That being said, it's still crit rate main stat. And we also have the fact that in the game right now, we have a metric crap ton of sword characters. Let's see. We have Sanwa, one of the best characters in the game, one of the best 4-stars, if not the best 4-star. We have Havoc Rover, which is one of the best DPS in the game right now. Yang Yang, but, you know, not so much. We also have Danjin, which is another huge DPS character. And a lot of these you want to use on the same team. Danjin and Havoc Rover often get paired together. Danjin and Sanwa, or Havoc Rover and Sanwa, which means you're going to have 2 swords on the same team, which is going to be tough when you're trying to push tower. For that reason, because there's so many sword users to use this sword right now, this thing is going to go up in value, in my opinion. Now, what I'm about to show you is a bit of spoiler, so I'm giving you a fair warning because I don't want to become one of these, just looking too far ahead channels. But this is a character coming out in the 1.1 patch. If you haven't heard of her, her name is Chang Li. She was teased in the story, and she will be one of the 1.1 characters. If you have not heard, this character is going to be a sword character, meaning that she will have a limited 5-star sword that will be coming out within like a month or 2. With that considered, if you are planning on pulling Chang Li, like I am, because, you know, I won't talk about it further, but I like Encore, and she might be a good pair with Encore. So I am going to be getting that Chang Li sword, if I have anything to say about it. So, with that in mind, I'm going to have 2 5-star swords at my disposal. And one is looking like, you know, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be pretty good, considering it's a limited one. One of the best things about Wuthering Waves, in my opinion, is that when you're doing the Tower of Adversity, you can freely switch your gear around between your teams, in between your runs. Which means, even if I'm using like 6 different sword characters across all 3 of my teams, as long as I only have 2 on each team, I'll only need 2 5-star swords to use on all of them. So because I know that I will be getting another 5-star sword within about a month or 2, I know that I will not need another Emerald of Genesis. Meaning, in my situation, my final decision here will be to grab this Static Mist. I'm going to confirm it right now live for you YouTubers. Let's see it. Boom. Here it is. Huge upgrades right now. I am going to go ahead and slap this on my Mortefi right away, and he is going to hold this for a long time. Like I said, guys, I think that this is one of the best weapons to invest in early on. It's going to hold out for a long time. It's a support weapon, which is always a good sign that it will not experience power creep. So I'm going to level this up and be happy with my decision. Now, let me talk about what you should do personally, depending on your situation. Even though I did pick Static Mist just now in my selector, there is a reason that I first went for Emerald of Genesis on that banner. If you don't have one of these yet, if you haven't pulled on that standard banner, and this is your literal first 5-star weapon, I would pick the Emerald of Genesis. And that is because, one, there's so many darn different sword users in this game right now. Sanwa, who is probably going to be a relevant character for a long time. Havoc MC, of course, and it's her best in slot. And even when she gets new elements, or elemental types, whatever they call them in this game, this sword can still be used on her, and she's like the first character you get, and probably one of the most worth building, because she's going to be relevant forever. And of course, Danjin. If you want to use Danjin, it's going to be her best for a while. So if you literally have not gotten any 5-star weapons so far, I am going to advise you that you should pick up this Emerald of Genesis. It's going to be the most immediate upgrade to your count that you can get. You're going to start feeling the effects right away, and it will last a long time. If you were like me, however, and you've put most of your standard banner pulls into that standard weapon banner, and gotten your Emerald of Genesis already, I am going to recommend that you pick up this Static Mist, because in the long run, I think this is going to be the best weapon to heavily invest into. And in the foreseeable future, there's not any guns that we know of coming out, like there is swords, who we're going to get another one within the next month or 2. So in that case, I am going to advise you to get Static Mist, like I said, if you already have your Emerald of Genesis. And that is my final answer there. Like I said towards the beginning of this video, this is a very nuanced conversation. So I know there's going to be, you know, shout out to you Jiangxin mains out there. If you are a main DPS Jiangxin, go ahead and get that 5-star gauntlet. What's stopping you? I mean, I totally support you. But for 90% of players, if you're just looking to have like a pretty good account and looking to make good investments, free to play plus to like moderate spenders, I am going to tell you, get that Emerald of Genesis. Good investment here. And then second, even if you do end up picking this Emerald of Genesis in your box, I would recommend getting the Static Mist selected on your banner after that, because both of these, if you can pick up these two in these first couple months, they're gonna be huge for your account. You're gonna use these for a long time. So yeah, that's my answer, guys, and I'm happy with this decision. I'm gonna level the rest of this up as soon as I'm done with this, but please, I want to know if you have differing opinions on this 5-star selector box. Let me know down in the comments. Tell me how wrong I am. I'd love to be wrong and learn something new. And I appreciate everyone commenting and coming with these new ideas, and with all the praise and the negativity. I appreciate it all. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.